Hey, Trojan family, what's going on? Welcome to the USC LAFB show. I'm your host, Ryan Dyer. This is the LAFB Network. Breaking recruiting news here in the Southland. It does pertain to USC. The number one defensive lineman in the 2028 class, Marcus Fakatou, if I'm saying that correctly. Forgive me if I'm not, but dominant defensive lineman at Orange Lutheran is reclassifying from the 28 class to the 2027 class. He has not been heavily targeted by USC. He has been targeted, and we will see if USC now ramps that up a lot more now that he is, in this 27 class, which they are starting their really heavy recruiting on right now as they do not currently hold any commits. So just a little bit quickly about Fakatou. Like I said, Orange Lutheran. He was the number one D lineman in the 28 class. He is now rated by Rivals Industry Ranking as the 32nd ranked defensive lineman in the 27 class. I presume that will change. Certainly he will rocket up those boards more by their next kind of evaluation, and certainly through next year as he plays his final high school season for Orange Lutheran. So, but a big body. I mean, this kid's a sophomore, which is crazy. And he's 6'7", just under 300 pounds. So you're talking by the time he gets to college, or let's just call it next year, senior year, he'll be over 300. You got to figure he'll be probably 305, 310 by then. And this guy could be playing at like a 330 pound weight by the time he is ready for college, potentially. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of weight to put on, but at a 6'7" frame, I think certainly is able to put on more weight. But I mean, he's been a dominant player for Orange Lutheran, and got to see him go up against some premier matchups in the Trinity League against St. John Bosco, against Mater Dei, and others. So his decision to reclassify. So this is from the newly hired by Rivals, Greg Biggins. I think it's great that there's now a West Coast representative for Rivals. For those that didn't know, Rivals /On3 didn't have like a West Coast analyst for recruiting. They kind of relied on, I guess, just watching tape out there. And Biggins was formerly of 24/7 Sports, resides here on the West Coast, and so now Rivals has a true West Coast evaluator, which, it's no secret that Rivals On3, or we'll just say On3, but because now it's Rivals, but when it was On3, there was always a little lower grading scale, it seemed like, for the West Coast players for whatever reason. So I think that will go up a tick now. But he told, hey, what's going on, LAFB family? Before we get to the show, got to tell you about my friends over at Sleeper, the number one sports app right now, and not just for season-long fantasy. They have daily game updates. They have a live chat that you can chat with other users. Plus, my favorite part is the daily fantasy feature, which is similar to a pick'em. You just choose two or more players across any sport. Choose more or less in whatever sport that may be. So if it's football, more or less touchdowns for Jaden Mayava. If it's Makai Lemon, more or less receptions. If you're looking at the Dodgers, more or less home runs for Shohei Ohtani. Really easy, and you can win real money. Right now, when you go and make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code. You see it right there on the screen, USCLAFB. That's going to give you a match deposit bonus up to $100. You put in $100 to play with, you're going to get $100 free on top of that. You can put in 10, you get 10 free. Also, right now, our friends are offering a $20 free entry for any new signups. If you go sign up today, you'll get both those offers. You get $20 right off the bat free to play with. Plus, use that promo code USCLAFB at sign up and you'll get that match bonus as well. Go to the App Store, Google Play, download the Sleeper app today, and tell them that the USC LAFB sent you. Now, let's get on to the show. Greg Biggins, my reason behind all this was I started varsity my freshman year in the Trinity League. It's the toughest league in the nation. No other better way to start. And now that my second season is coming to a close, I already feel confident and ready to move on to the next level. God has been so good to me and has kept me blessed. I wouldn't be in this position without him. So, so he'll be up right now. This is the 5 schools that he says to Greg that are standing out to him are Notre Dame, Alabama, Georgia, Texas, and Oregon. So USC not on that list. Now, we will see if that changes with his reclassification. Obviously, we've seen from other players in this 26 class, specifically, I'll mention Kenai Pepe, before like February, hadn't even really heard from USC, and which was, pretty shocking considering, his cousin or brother figure, Kobe Pepe, is on the team. He's originally a SoCal kid, SoCal family, obviously one of the elite offensive tackles, and USC wasn't really pursuing him. And then in the spring, did a hard push and got his commitment and then went all in on him. So just because USC is not one of the top 5 frontrunners right now, that can certainly change if they decide to make him one of the headliners for this 27 class. Now, one thing to think about, and I don't know if this will have any of their thought process, but the 26 class and even technically the 25 class have a lot of reclassifications. So basically young freshmen that are wanting to get to campus early, which is great. You have more opportunity to mold them, but potentially more, I don't want to say resources, but more time to develop. And for the player, I think it's good to reclassify because then you're getting sole focus on football at the collegiate level at a great university. You're getting the premier coaching, like nothing against high school coaches, but I think a D-line coach in high school is a lot different than Coach Henderson or Coach Nua. So you're getting that. So for the player, it makes a ton of sense to reclassify. For the program, like some players, not all players are Jakeem Stewart. Not saying Fakatou can't be, but not all those players are Jakeem Stewart and come in as what should be a high school senior ready to rock and roll out the gate and get playing time in game 1. So more often than not, you'll see more similarities to like RJ Sermons, who I think was a fine decision to reclassify, but likely will take a redshirt year and just have it fully focused on development. And so I wonder if USC will think of that, like, man, we got, 2 reclassifications in 25? We have, I think, 2 in 26. How many do we want in 27? Or do we need freshmen coming in that are ready to go from day one? Now, I think they've built these classes right. They will not need that. The good programs, you don't see leaning on freshmen. That doesn't mean there's not freshmen playing in those top programs, but you're not having to rely on them. And I think what they've done with 25, what they've done when this 26 class eventually all signs, which is a month away now, they won't be relying on that because then they'll be in year 2 or whatever by this 27 class. But just something to think about. Body-wise, I think he would be ready to. I think he'd be ready to rock and roll day 1 when you look at that size. That is incredible how big this kid is. So yeah, we'll see what their recruitment looks like. I'll be on campus later today, but I'll see if I can speak with anyone or any people that I know that maybe have some insight into what that recruitment could maybe look like now with the reclassification. But certainly I got to look for a local kid, as I said, Orange Lutheran, and one that you would think Coach Henderson will put on a high priority list moving forward and become one of those high sought after targets for that 2027 class. So quick one. Just want to get update you on that. Let me know your thoughts on this. Cause this could be a big player. So comment below your thoughts if you want USC to pursue him, if there's other targets that you're looking at. Obviously, we've got a long way to go talking about 27, but we'll start diving into that. So if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Check out all of our USC, all of our LA sports content over at LAFBnetwork.com. You can join our community there, become a subscriber, join the message board completely free. We'll drop recruiting intel in there all the time, so make sure to check that out. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back later with more information, some more recruiting updates. Plus, like I said, I'll be on campus, so we'll have a rapid recap after we talk to Coach Riley later this evening. As always, family,